the UCLA game in December was set up by us not being able to play in the NCAA tournament the year before. UCLA won the national championship and we were undefeated. So a game was set up in St. Louis, national TV game. And I know that sounds like not much these days, but in those days, not every game was on national TV. So big game, a lot of hype. We didn't play good, but down the road, it helped us. I think when we met them again in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament, UCLA at that time was a lot like the Yankees. People get beat by the Yankees just by looking at the pinstripes, and they keep looking at the Yankees uniform instead of who they're playing. And the fact that we had played them in St. Louis in December of that year, and we had gotten better, we felt like, as a team, as the season moved along. And they had a couple chinks in their armor down the stretch. In February, they lost a couple games. So things just kind of seemed to be, again, karma was working out for us. At the time, we had to beat a great Maryland team. Only one team went to the NCAA tournament from the ACC, and that was the conference tournament winner. And Maryland might have been the second best team in the country that year. Might have been the best team, except we kept beating them. But it was a great run for us. That December game was probably a good warm up. They got our attention for sure, and we certainly played better the second time around.
Yeah. So you end up going to the NCAA tournament, and you end up seeing UCLA again. Obviously, I mean, I think it's 64, 65, 66, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. That's the years they won national championships, correct? What goes through your mind after you just lost the game? Obviously, you said you've gotten better over the years, but, obviously mentally, it's like you said, it's kind of that uniform that kind of catches your eye. But if you could kind of see past it a little bit, you realize, okay, this is just another team. What were you thinking, now that you get another shot? You lost earlier in the year. Obviously, you guys went undefeated the year before, which is a whole nother story that we could kind of dive into, where you could have won the national championship that year. What was kind of going through your mind seeing them and lining up against them in I think it was the semifinals, correct?
Semifinals. And the game was in Greensboro. So we had that to our advantage. I mean, we didn't set the game up. We just showed up where they told us to show up, and it happened to be Greensboro, And I thought that helped us. But I had great teammates, had great coaches. But anytime you line up with David Thompson on the floor and Tommy Burleson, you had a chance to beat anybody that you were playing. In 2 years, we lined up those guys, and we played 58 games, and we won 57 of them. Yeah. And we just had a lot of confidence in ourselves. Coach Sloan, made us feel confident, said that, we're the better team. We can get this done. And it took some breaks here and breaks there, but that's the way basketball is. And tough game all the way down, double overtime. I don't know how many NBA first round picks were on the floor, but UCLA had those on the floor plus about 7 on the bench. So,
yeah.
They were the kings. And I don't know that we really thought about all the championships that they had won before going into that game. I think we just looked at that game and kept our sole attention on that game and tried to win that game. And then all of a sudden we're part of history.
Yeah, obviously they had a great player in Bill Walton, who gets a lot of recognition, which is well-deserved. What's your takeaway from playing against him as a player? And what did you guys do from a scouting report, try to contain him?
Yeah, I don't know if we had scouting reports in those days, Scott. We just kind of said, Coach Stone always said, let's take care of ourselves, and that'll be good enough, But Walton was the best player in college basketball. I think you can go back and look at AP College Player of the Year 2 or 3 years in a row. Phenomenal passer, phenomenal team player, shot blocker, rebounder, and great fundamentals. So he had the whole package. Just the year before, or 2 years before, he had gone 21 for 22 in a semifinal game against Memphis State. It was called Memphis State at the time. So he was recognized as the best player in college basketball, along with David Thompson. But David's an incredible player, an incredible winner, and the combination of Burleson and Thompson that day were just good enough to get the job done. They had Keith Wilkes, a lot of other good players on their team. Yep. Walton certainly was the key player, And the most intimidating figure between you and me somewhat was their coach, John Wooden, over there on the sideline. When you look over there, you'd almost want to take a double take and say, that is John Wooden over there, but a great tradition, one of the best, stories ever in the history of team sports. And fortunately, we got him that day.
Yeah. John Wooden, another Indiana guy. So the connection's all over.
There we go.
So obviously that's your semifinal game. You still have another game to play after this. You did. So obviously you don't want to lay an egg. So take us into that Marquette, which was the Warriors then, right?
Yes.
So I know them as the Golden Eagles.
Okay.
Take us into that game. And, obviously I'm sure the UCLA game was a little bit draining in the fact that you knew how good they were and you had to bring your best. Now you have a whole nother game to win the national title. What was that game like?
Well, Marquette was a great team. Al McGuire, one of the great coaches of all time. And they just didn't get good yesterday. They've been good for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And they had guys like Bo Ellis, Maurice Lucas on this team. So what I remember as far as preparation for that game is Coach Sloan, instead of relaxing and easing off, he cranked it up a notch. And he made sure that we weren't going to think that we were already home,
Yeah.
We were at third base in a baseball game. We still had we had to get to home plate. And he was on us pretty good, preparation for the game, get ready to play. And we really played one of our better games of the year as far as percentages. We turned it over a lot. I don't know if you look at that box score from the Marquette game, it's a kind of a strange box score. We turned it over, I think 23 times, but we were like 26 for 46 from the floor. We made a lot of shots, and Marquette got more shots than we did, turned it over less, but we beat them by 12. It was kind of in the second half. We walked away with that game. So a great performance again by that team, getting off the cloud of beating UCLA on I think it was a Saturday, and then turning around and beating a real good Marquette, great coach Al McGuire on Monday.
So after you win the national title, what's the first thing that goes through your mind? The buzzer hits. What was the first thing that you were thinking of?
I don't know. Just couldn't believe it. As a kid, you grow up watching Texas Western beat Kentucky on TV, dribble basketball outside in Converse when the snow's on the ground, and then you end up playing on a national championship team. So the feeling, to this day, is just one that you can't duplicate. Just what it meant at the time, what it means now, the great people that I've met along the way, and the teammates that I had to share it with, and to this day still stay in touch with. And the relationships are really important, and that's what we maintain to this day. But the national championship, I'm sure, it always, when you win, it always brings you a little bit closer together, and certainly to share a national championship with a bunch of guys and a university and just all the people involved at North Carolina State. To this day, I'm real proud of what we were able to do.